All right, so we would love to start off by hearing a little bit of your background, your company, and your inspiration for the project.
Of course. So my name is UYi Omorogbe. I am the CEO of NaSo. And NaSo is this fashion brand that marries Western and African culture through design and story. And we produce high quality products and create economic opportunity across the continent of Africa. And we really invest in the development of youth and underserved communities from rural Africa to the US and beyond. Yeah, so to talk a little bit more about the inspiration and how I started the company, I was a senior, obviously at the same school as you, Mac. We both went to Colgate, and I sort of discovered entrepreneurship halfway through my experience there, and like really fell in love with it, and really wanted to create a company that was uniquely positioned to create. And it was actually during that time that there was this huge global movement where African culture was really permeating into the Western world. It was through Black Panther, and it was through Afrobeats music reaching every corner of the world. And so I was like, hey, I think I could really pioneer this exact movement in the apparel space. And I knew I wanted to make it a company that was more than just fashion as well. And so I ended up marrying that brand idea with the social mission of investing in underserved communities in rural Africa and beyond.
Wow, that is amazing. You talked a bit about empowering youth and then investing in communities. Can you explain how NASO helps empower the local communities that you operate in?
So it's interesting. In like when our customers interact with our product, you want them to have this feeling of empowerment, right? It's like this feeling that makes them think, that's right, well done. And that word in Nigeria, which is where I'm from, or my parents are from, should I say, that word is NASO, right? And so we empower people at every corner of our business. So we manufacture 100% on the continent of Africa, whether we're manufacturing in Nigeria, whether we're manufacturing in Mauritius, whether we're manufacturing in Kenya, we manufacture 100%. So we're creating economic opportunity in that way. And in addition, we invest in, like I said, underserved communities. So we're going into, rural Africa and areas where there's educational disparity, where there's just a lot of lack of investment in infrastructure in terms of the facilities that the kids are going to school in. And so we actually go into these communities and we say, hey, we would like to invest in this community and build a new school, right? And so we actually built our first school in the rural village that my father grew up in. And so in addition to having that educational transformation of the actual facility in itself, we're also injecting economic opportunity into that community as well, by hiring local construction workers to actually build the school, by sourcing materials locally to actually build the school as well. So yeah, at every corner of our business, we really focus on giving back, empowering, and uplifting communities.
That is, yeah, incredible.
Yes.
It must be very meaningful work to see you building up like villages and communities where your parents grew up, especially, and watching
Yeah,
that transformation.
yeah, it was definitely a crazy experience. It was awesome.
That's so cool. I guess so you guys have done so much already, but where do you see your company in 5 years? What does that timeline look like?
I mean, in 5 years, I want NASO to be this sort of globally recognized fashion brand that's just very much known for doing the right thing. And most of all, our goal is to really build this community around the brand of individuals who are just really bought into transforming their own communities and making the world a better place. And I think if we're able to do that at a grand scale and have this really large global community, that we could really change the world. And that's what it's all about, right? It's about how do we get many people moving in concerted action towards that same goal of, like I said, transforming communities and creating the environment that we all wish to live in. So from a social standpoint, that's where I want NASO to be, for sure, in 5 years.
I guess piggybacking off of that concerted effort, what would be advice that you would give to aspiring young social entrepreneurs who also want to get into this space and kind of help with that collective effort to move forward?
Yeah, my advice to any aspiring social entrepreneurs, I would just say, find something that you are extremely passionate about. If you have something that you're extremely passionate about, find a creative solution to that, that issue that you want to solve, and just have the courage to take action and go out and start doing something, right? Like, don't hold yourself up on the amount of impact you're initially making. Just focus on changing one person's life, then thinking about changing two people's lives, and then three, then four, then next thing you know, you're changing entire communities, right? So I would just say, yeah, find that one thing that you're extremely passionate about and pursue it And yeah, don't be discouraged. Just take that first step, and you'll be surprised in where you'll end up and the people's lives that you'll be able to change. So that would be my advice.
Kind of piggybacking off of that too, um, can you maybe like elaborate a bit more like where you started off? I think that's like a really big inspiration because a lot of
Mhm.
people are kind of scared to take that next step or starting off with a very small plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually, yeah, so I was a senior in college and I was going to um yeah, into my senior year at Colgate University, and I traveled to Nigeria because I wanted to make some samples going into my senior year. And at this point, I'm not funded whatsoever. I have like $3,000 from like a Colgate grant or something like that. And I made some samples, and that's when I went and visited the rural village that my father was from. I saw the school and was like, man, I really wish I could change the situation. And at that point, I had nothing. I didn't have like any money to do it. I didn't have anything. So I think what's important is that, like, if you're really passionate about something and you're creatively thinking about ways to pursue it, that you'll find a way. And so I leveraged the platform Kickstarter, which allows you to generate sales through pre-orders, because I didn't have the capital to actually fund it. And said, hey, this is what I'm passionate about, this is the community that I want to change, this is the product that I'm selling. Are you interested in being a part of this community that we're trying to build? And people were interested, right? And we were able to get our first round of funding and sales through that. And that was just like the first marker, that we just kept going after that. So that's really how I got started. And I think that, yeah, if you're really passionate enough and you just keep trying over and over again, that you're eventually going to catch a break. So yeah, I think a lot of people are discouraged with the idea of going out and starting something new. I mean, it's honestly one of the most vulnerable and scary things to do, but it's also one of the most rewarding things to do as well. Um, so yeah, you'll find you'll catch a break. The harder you work, the luckier you get. That's my thought on that.
I love the way you explain that, like definitely like turning your passions into or your ideas into something greater. And you brought up Kickstarter, and that leads me to our next kind of question. How has
Mhm.
your experience been with using technology and especially TikTok in
Mhm.
pushing out NASO's brand?
Yeah, it's been huge. It's crazy. The world that we live in today is, I think, very, very, it's a great environment to start a business. If you're young, if you're old, it doesn't really matter, right? Because the tools to starting a business are kind of at your disposal and they're free, right? And that's in leveraging technology like social media apps and platforms like Kickstarter, all these different types of things. And for us, it's been huge, right? Because it's sort of democratized this ability to build an audience. And that's kind of why I started leveraging TikTok, right? Like, as I mentioned, when you ask, where do I want NASO to be in 5 years? I talked about that global community. And that's really what we're building through TikTok, right? You're able to reach like 50 million people with one video. It's like insane, right? So yeah, it's been a huge, huge, attribute for our business to really have uh, that that platform in our back pocket and be able to really leverage it to build a community. So yeah, it's been tremendous in our business plan and our growth model and things like that. So it's awesome.
I think that was incredible. Thank you so much, Uli.
Of
Yeah, I
course,
really
anytime.
your kind of insight into the world that you're working in and building, and it's really amazing what you're doing. And yeah, you inspire all of us. So
Thank you, Mackie. Thank you. You guys are great. That was awesome too.